Hello, folks. Welcome to a bit of post-commentary. Not sure how long it's going to be, but it is here. So, welcome to another session of EVE Online. I'm doing a bit of a roam with some corpies here. Just a PvE roam of us shooting some, of the local pirate population. Jose Penim and Sorrow Domique. Seeing these names, seeing this UI, fuck, it's bringing me back. It's nostalgic as hell. I am actually very tempted to go back to EVE Online at some point. Would be nice. But, it would depend heavily on the... I have one issue. It's something I always suffer with. And it's, hey, I really want to play this game. It sounds fun. Get into it, lose all interest immediately. Not necessarily an issue with the game, just me. I just lose interest. Other times it's like, oh, I forgot how slow of a start it was. Fuck. Like, I went to go play Kenshi there the other day. Lost interest straight away. And I'm thinking like, oh, I want to play Star Sector, but it's probably going to be the same way. But if I go play it, it's going to be so I don't want to play it. But I want to play it. But it'll be slow and boring, but I want to play it, and I just keep bouncing back and forth, and it's kind of annoying. Just scrolling through the oh fuck, that's a good point to me. There was an episode of EVE Online that ended up being semi-corrupted. The dates on it ended up wrong, but it seemed like it was just ended up being a copied file rather than an outright corruption of the original file. So basically I end up having two versions of it, one correct, one incorrect. But I need to double check that because it's possible I actually skipped a subsession. Don't actually have it here. Maybe I deleted it upon finding the other ones and them seemingly fine. Possibly. I do feel bad leaving so many commentary-less videos. I'm only going to be lingering here for a little while yet, and the rest of this is going to be commentary-less. But it's like there's this subsession and then 3 more, and then there's 9 that are going to be mute. And then there's going to be 91 more subsessions to deal with. Excuse me. 91 more to deal with before I'm done this run of EVE Online. So I can't really linger long enough on these to give them the commentary they deserve, you know? Like this whole bit stretches, as you're gonna see, is an hour long. And then there is a 2.5 hour sound fade from the other day, a half an hour sound fade from the other day, 4 hours of commentary. I can't justify it. I want to try and get through all this ASAP so I can get onto the other stuff that's been sitting on my hard drive for years upon years. I've lost footage recently, so it's important for me to get as much off my PC as possible. Plus, you never know what will actually catch people's attention and really help my channel out. I would like to make money off this channel at some point. I suppose it might be in poor taste admitting it outright, but I would like to make money off my channel at some point. would be nice if I could make it a job, but I do feel like I'm almost too late to do so. I do feel like I'm almost too late to do so. Like, just the way YouTube's had the adpocalypses, the way they've tightened up on, fuck me, the way they tightened up on stuff, the way, you know, the algorithms skewed, you know, just different factors of how YouTube works now. Feels like I may have missed a chance to be, you know, a professional at this. Professionalist is a strong word. I'm just a wanker with a copy of OBS. But you get my point. I do feel like I'm a bit too late to really get in it. Need to stop a sec. And I'm back. Not that I remember anything that I was saying. Let me get the music going again. You missed like a pulse of it. But, yeah, I do I'll jump to this topic. I do apologize for... Ahoy! I do feel bad about not having post-commentary for all of this, given that how much I'm cutting out. But, it is what it is. Basically, simply, I just talked about shit I had second thoughts of at the time, having in it. I don't remember what that stuff was, and I'm not bothered in checking. Who knows, maybe it's fine, it was just me being, like, self-conscious, insecure. That's a common complaint. That's baseline. So, yeah. That could be all it was, or maybe I had second thoughts on it and realized that, you know what, I'm not a fan of that commentary, you know? I don't want it in there. So, yeah. Is this my Ishtar, or is this something else? Or is this just my, yeah, no, this is definitely my Ishtar, going by the amount of drones in it. I just couldn't remember when this was. Did I get my Ishtar down, or was I still flying a Vexor? But no, that's my Ishtar. We were later advised to rename our ships, so people can't ID what they are just from their name. I don't do a good job on it. I call it the Rin. Rin. Or, no, I think I called it Tosaka. It's a layered fate joke. But, I've been seeing a lot of talk about fate on like Twitter and whatnot, so beyond seeing Fate Stay Night, Unlimited Blade Works, I don't actually engage in any other Fate content material. So, But yeah, so the rest of this is going to be silent. Part of me is wondering if I should just make the rest of this playthrough sound, and like the session sound, and just upload that. But I would like to give you some actual commentary on gameplay. There's a video I have to go find, and here, you can join me on it. It seems that I stored it differently to the rest. I didn't name it the same as them, so when I was transferring over my EVE Online files, it didn't come with. So it's still on this other hard drive, hopefully. I'm worried it's anywhere else because it's going to be a bitch and a half to get it. It's not the most important of footage, but it's footage I want, as it's well, we eventually leave Zappy. We do. And it was a last look at it. No commentary. I wasn't able to commentate it, but wow. Jacking that thing in. I didn't cut the music off, that was just mere good timing. But it caused DaVinci to freeze. So. There we go. Glad I found it now because soon enough it's actually going to be relevant. The reason I missed it was I lacked the word session in it, I guess. Or MMO. Maybe MMO. So... Wait, the hell? Okay, this whole scheduling of this is different than I thought. I thought it was EVE Online all the way down, then FF14, but you're getting FF14 a bit sooner. But yeah, I've already found that file. And I'm just slotting in MMO at the start of it, so it can just be found in the backlog. But yeah, FF14 is actually higher in the list than I thought. It's not going to be relevant to Yi for a little bit yet. Actually, what subsession are we on? 37A. It'll actually be relevant to Yi soon. Well, we're on session 37. And so it's 37, 38, 39, 40, which is 7 hours and 2 seconds. But that's going to be reduced because I do have to edit out some bits or mute them. And then we're into Final Fantasy 14. Which bit is that? Better hear past me there for a moment. Oh, it's me doing the Beastman quests. Beast Tribe quests. I hear they've been changed to Beast Society or something, or Society quests. Which is... It feels just more Ian's memeing. That coffee's gone cold. Like, EVE Online is tainted horrifically by the localizers that staff it. Sorry, not EVE Online. FF14 is tainted incredibly by the localizers that staff it. Them adding in their own memes, tulls, balls, being just them wanting a, you know, I don't know what you'd call it, but they wanted a canonical phrase like that. It's just, you know, I don't even know what you class that as. Epitaph? Part of the issue is with things is that you know, like, you know, Jesus Christ, you know, fucking hell, you know these phrases, but you don't know what they are classified as by your language. like they're an expression, but beyond that, what sort of expression? That's what I've seen someone use, a particular distinct phrase, but it's escaping me. But regardless, there's no canonical expression of that type in FF14, so the localizers invented one and added it in where it did not belong, because it did not exist. So I hear. Obviously, part of the issue with translations is if someone fucks it up, you're now relying on someone else not to fuck it up. You're relying on someone else to do a good job. So it's perfectly possible for you to be bouncing between incompetence. Perfectly possible. And I'm not saying that taking a swing at double perfect KO. I'm after forgetting again. That's not me trying to take a swing at him. It's just simply that since I don't speak the language, I don't know if I'm getting fucked with. I have to take it on trust. I have to take it on faith. And sometimes I do get paranoid. But and then others were also joining in and saying, "Oh, this was wrong, that was wrong," and so you just kind of end up like, there's no way for you to be sure yourself, you know. So, but yeah, I do have a ton of FF14 footage to come out to you. Just loading it up here. This is probably not going to be done too cleanly, because it's checking like all the drives and it's always fucking slow at this. But I do have a lot of FF14 to come to ye. Here, if I actually do it this way. Huh, I still have some of the early stuff. Nice. But yeah, if you're not quite digging EVE Online, you'll have more of it. Well, sorry, you'll have more FF14 on its way to you soon. Since it's seeming like just 7 hours between now and then. Maybe 7 episodes, maybe less. So like you got a week till I start releasing a ton of FF14 footage. That being said, the FF14 footage isn't going to be that grand. Oh, there's going to be main quest progression. I was trying my damnedest to do the weapon quest, finish the weapon quest, before moving on from our ARR. So there's just lots of like roaming around, killing random enemies, doing random dungeons. Just redo of content. And the grind was burning me out. Then there's also me doing the Beast Tribe quests, and it's just daily upon daily upon daily, and a lot of repeated content. But you will get to see new stuff, and you will get to see. Okay, I'm gonna have to segment that. There's a random file in the middle of my search, so that's getting in the way of getting an accurate video length. Ah, and I found the corrupted file here. Well, what is it? 33B. Yep, I got it. I got it 3 times. One in new folder E, one in XSplit tree 2 E, not the E drive, and then one on my current main drive. So, There's one issue in the way I've done this, is that I'm searching just for FF14, not my MMO vids. So the exact order this is in isn't clearest. Okay. So... okay, it seems like this is the end point for now. Unless new files appear. I've got 36 hours of FF14 inbound to you. Then I think I come back and play a little bit more EVE Online. Then I go back to doing FF14, but also doing some RuneScape. That's how I remember it going. This is the reality of recording, doing post commentary from the future. I can look ahead and tell you what's coming. So there's a fair bit to check here. It's still not the worst. I've gotten like over 70 hours of FF14 recorded for ye, though there is those duplicate episodes I mentioned and whatnot. Still, there's a ton of footage inbound to ye, though it will be interspersed between EVE Online vids and RuneScape vids. But this will be relatively all of you'll see of FF14 from me. I am thinking of going up to Ravana because he's got a great song, and then calling it there. That'll be the end of my FF14 journey. Despite buying all the expansions up to a certain point, despite the amount of time I put into it, probably hundreds of hours, I'm dropping it. The mistranslations are egregious. And they, I just can't justify still playing it when I'm not actually getting FF14. I'm getting someone's mockery of it. Do you remember years ago, a woman tried to restore a painting of Jesus and butchered it? That's how I view the English translation of FF14. Except that woman is rightly seen as a fool and a tarnisher. The localizers keep getting praised for their butcherings and rewarded for it. They're still getting paid. Because of them, I'll likely never get to experience the actual FF14 story. So it's more than a bit frustrating. So, yeah. Because of them, I'll likely never get to experience the actual FF14 story. I'll never get to see the work those people did. Make my purchase and all that money I spent worthwhile. Similarly, if I was to buy any FF14 FF game, ignoring video policies and the like that'll get in my way, because of the constant mistranslations, I wouldn't be getting the story there either. I wouldn't, the thing was going to be perpetually mangled. From a little bit I'm seeing, the Dark Souls things have gotten wetted through mostly clean. Mostly. There's still issues, but they don't seem as egregious. But honestly, it's not just Final Fantasy XIV. Any game you get that's translated seems to be tarnished by these people. They just can't do their jobs and do it right. They have to butcher, they have to cripple, they have to maim. It's profoundly obnoxious, because I want to see the worlds these people have made. I want to see the worlds these people have wrote. But I can't, because someone else, you're at a restaurant, and you order a steak. The chef puts their blood, sweat, and tears into it, and they do a good job. But as the person's bringing it to the table, they stop and take a shit on the plate and serve it up to you. Others are eating the shit happily. But you see it for what it is and realize that I'm not getting the steak that was made and delivered to me. The person facilitating me having the steak decided to ruin it. All I'm getting is a ruined steak. So that's FF14 for me. They've shit on the plate and they've served it up to me. I realize it a bit late, but I don't want any more. And apparently the Ravana song is actually worked on by that localizer. The song is good in its own right, though I do question what was there in the English in the game before he did the song. Was there any song at all, or was there the music there but no lyrics? Like, what's the details there? Or was that an actual creative bit of work that was actually properly done, if you get me? Like, the song is good in its own right, and like I don't mind what the writing that's there in FF14 in the English version, but it's not accurate to the original. That's my issue. That's my issue. It's just not accurate to what should be there. So that's why I want to stop. Because like what they wrote isn't terrible. It's not atrocious, but it's inaccurate to the correct translation. You know? Like, I have no issue with Tal's balls on the face of it. Like, just on it, standing on its own merits, it's fine. But it's a mistranslation. Well, it's a complete fabrication on the behalf of the translators. It's a completely made up phrase that's not in the original. There's no equivalent in the original, apparently. I have to frame everything as apparently because I may be wrong. But, so yeah, 20 minutes, Jesus. I did not mean to go on for this long. It's actually longer because this is the second half of the post-com. But this is what happens when I start ranting. Time vanishes. I did get a message a while ago, I should respond to it. But, yeah, basically, simply put, I'm running out of EVE Online footage for this section of it. I was starting to get burnt out, so I end up drifting back to FF14. So you'll be getting FF14 footage for a while before I drift back to EVE Online and finish up. And then I'll drift back to FF14, but I'll also get distracted by RuneScape. So you can look forward to that footage coming out. I'm just having everything loading up here so I can give you actual ideas of how much you have to look forward to. I had accidentally had WoW tainting the load, so I just had to research it all without WoW in there, because it's slowing things down. But yeah, these searches always take forever, and it's just generally a pain in the ass. This thing is requiring me to... I'm just looking at some later on EVE Online I did. I thought this was during SOD, but this is from mid-2023. I wasn't in SOD during then, was I? I don't think so. It's for want me, like, latter end, second event fight. Whole thing. And it's 15 minutes 22 for the first one, 2 minutes 20 for the second one, 9 minutes 27 for the third one. I may just make those sound episodes, sound segments. Would make my life easier. I'm more focused on getting stuff out to you than having to dawdle too much on stuff. I say after giving you 30 minutes of post commentary. Or so. But it just, there's so much to get through. I'm just looking at it here. My MMO vids without WoW, and while it's counting stuff I've already done, there is 700 items here, and it's not counting stuff. Oh no, that's stuff I've already done, so it should be counted any which way. Oh no, it is here. It is here. It's just at the wrong end of the queue. But yeah, there's 704 items here. It's nearly done. I think it might be after finding all the items, but they're just not in the right order yet. It probably still won't be in the right order for quite a while. If I go answer their message, it'll give it more time. But there's probably like 600 items to get through, and each item is like a sub-session, you know? Though at the end of this here, there is shortcuts to them, more recent items, searches. This just keeps throwing this stuff up. So, and then there's my WoW Classic Anniversary footage. So, it's still, you could work it down to, let's say, 550. There's still 550 subsessions to get through. Quite likely to be 550 minutes, if not more. Certainly more. If I was to actually listen to that 2-minute vid there, 9-minute vid there, it's a lot to get through. So that's why I kind of want to keep this as, this stuff as brief as possible, so I don't have to spend as much time getting through this like block of stuff, And then I start ranting for 30 minutes. Typical. Hey folks, and I've returned. So what are you up to right now in the footage? This. Okay, just at the end of the first session, and we're still fighting some rats. The issue is for me to find you where you are in the footage. Basically, while you remain in a single session, I can see exactly where you are. But the moment you graduate into a new session, I have to start doing maths again. And like mental maths under pressure of like recording and not falling behind and rendering the maths pointless. It's not something I'm going to do on the fly. Actually, you know what? It's not that bad, really. Once I know, like, okay, the first session is like 28 minutes, then I add, okay, it's 36, so I, add 8. So here it is, 8 minutes into the next session. Once I frame it like that, it's actually simple. But my initial thought, I start overcomplicating it, spiraling from there, so. But yeah, you're a fair bit of the way through here. Huh. Again, I'm sorry for ranting about FF14. I'm just frustrated with it because I really enjoy the games. I really enjoy the game. It's a fun game. It's a good game. But knowing that what I've read of it, the world I've seen, the characters I've seen, isn't what's actually there. Isn't what's in the actual writings of the game. That I'm reading someone's bastardization of it. I'm reading someone's fresh puppet mock-up of it. Takes away from it entirely. It ruins it for me. It despoils it for me. So it's beyond frustrating. It's beyond frustrating. Because I really like it, and that makes me more annoyed over it. You know? When you like something, you want to see it do well. You want to see it be good, you know? It's like why I get as annoyed as I do with WoW. Because there's terrible writing with it at times. They have good writing and then choose to ignore it and forsake it. They sell you a novel that or to let believe is canon, and then they just completely ignore it and pretend it doesn't exist because they want to write something else, even though they had a writer go out and write this for them. So it's beyond frustrating for me. Beyond frustrating for me. Like a lot of people have liked the Christie Golden Garrosh novels. Garrosh novel. I've seen a lot of people saying it was a great book. But then Pandaria came out and they completely ignored it. It never happened. So you spent your 12 quid or whatever on that book and you just wasted your money. You got a good story out of it, but as part of the wider Warcraft setting, it did not get used again. You saw that novel was basically rendered non-canon. Again, like there was a bit in it with what Christie Golden wrote for the Draenei about the Atalai crystals or something, Atalai crystals, and the writers liked it so much they put it as part of the game, and it was treated as this great thing, and it is. It's a good thing, but that should be the expected. That should be the standard. That should be the norm. That shouldn't be a exceptional circumstance. You know, that should be standard. Like, okay, this person that we commissioned to write a novel for us wrote this novel. We'll go over it, make sure it fits with our lore, make sure it fits with our writings, and then we'll add it to the catalog. So when we do further writings, we have to correspond with their novel as well. That should be the standard. That should be the expectation. That the things don't get published unless they're fine with it, unless they're happy with it. And only in extreme circumstances do they get to go back on something. Like, fuck, we messed up. This doesn't actually fit with the canon. You know? They need to have proper lore checks and expectations. You know? That's the expectation. That's baseline. That should be standard. It's hard to know who's at fault for it. The lore team damn well may have been doing their job and screaming from the rooftops what's wrong, but the execs pushed ahead. Or maybe it's the director, or maybe it's this person, maybe it's that person. Maybe in reality it's the janitor. You know, it's hard to know who's at fault for it. Maybe it's a collaborative effort for being such a fuck up. Who knows? It's hard to know who to blame, but as a unit, they can be blamed. As a company, they're a fuck up. So, again, I do love the idea of somehow being able to wrest WoW away from Blizzard and StarCraft. Never got too into Diablo, so don't really care there, but yeah, you could add that in too. And actually, like, fix it. It feels kind of narcissistic saying fix it, but just because someone owns the IP or even created it doesn't necessarily mean they've the best interests of the thing in mind. Because their own biases could be coming true and actively harming the thing. like they just aren't writing well for it. Like I've come up with ideas myself, and it's like, yeah, no, that's a bad idea. That's taking away from it. It's the same in their case, you know. Just because someone came up with a thing, just because someone wrote a thing, doesn't necessarily mean they are doing the best for that thing. So again, I point back to Blizzard's writing for StarCraft. They rendered any conflict with Kerrigan nonsensical. I'm actually going to do a video. I'm thinking biggest plot hole in StarCraft. I'm clickbaity title to draw people in. And the plot hole is that you can resist Kerrigan at all. In Brood War, she mentally dominates the Nerazim's, or we'll go with just Dark Templar, because I always confuse Nerazim with Natrazim. It's too close. They're Dreadlords and Dark Templar. Irrespectively, I believe. So she mind controlled the Dark Templar matriarch, an action that I don't actually have an issue with, but she didn't even do it on the same planet, which I would have an issue with. She did it from somewhere in the sector. So it's, I thought she was at least took a foot on the planet and dominated her. Terrible, but what's even worse is she did it somewhere in the sector. According to the wiki, wrote by Subsorian, who is the War Master of StarCraft, the unofficial War Master, he said that, well, the wiki claimed that she was one of the strongest psychics in the sector. Rasagul, or whatever she's called. The matriarch was, the DT matriarch, DTM, was the most powerful psychic in the sector. One of them. And Kerrigan mind controls her from somewhere within the sector, showing Kerrigan to be vastly powerful in comparison to her to an insane degree. Now, Kerrigan has to be powerful for just this story to work. And it also makes sense for her character. So her being powerful works. It's fine, and I have no issue with it. But having her be able to dominate someone from another planet, or just being on the same planet as her, might be a bit too powerful. If there is protection against it, that's one thing. But they depict her as being able to mind control one of the most powerful psychics in the sector from somewhere within the sector. Puts her on a scale of power like a god. So any resistance to her makes no sense. When the UED turns up and she knows of their existence, she should have been able to ravage their fleets with mere thought. When, at the end of the thing, the UED remnants, Mansk, the Protoss are all joining together to try and break her in this last-ditch effort, she should have just been able to mind dominate them all and make them eat each other. Just kill each other. Bam! They made her so powerful that being able to resist Kerrigan's will, outside of her letting you feebly try to fight her, as a plot hole. I just realized I misnumbered these videos here. Fuck. Whatever. It doesn't matter, they're still in order, it's just the session numbering is wrong. For EVE Online. Whatever. But, where was I going with this? Basically, like, I could see Kerrigan letting someone try and shoot her, toying with them, playing with them. But if they're ever actually a threat, she puts them down. She can read their mind. She's the most powerful psychic in the sector, except maybe Duran. Or maybe he's just built different. Maybe he's not even a psychic. Just going by Brood War. We don't know what he is. He's a mystery. He pretended to be infested. He faked it perfectly. She never knew any better. So, who knows who or what he is? Even ignoring StarCraft 2. Just going by Brood War. Duran is a mystery. He's a wild card. But it makes no sense for anyone else to be able to resist her. It makes no sense for anyone to be able to fight her outside of them being a plaything to her, a child trying to beat up Muhammad Ali. You know, I'm sure if Muhammad Ali punched a kid, the kid would just explode into gore. You know, in his heyday. Carrigan's very much the same way. She could, you know, just maul someone and they would not be able to resist her. Well, as the Queen of Blades, Queen Bitch of the Universe, she could just devastate. She'd pick a target and just rend them apart, be with her mind or with her wing blades or with her claws. She would be indomitable. So she can read your mind, and if you were anyway a threat to her, like you have, you know, a trap set up, she sends you into the trap. If you have a weapon that can harm her, really harm her, she makes you break it, dismantle it, eat it. You know, they made her to the point where there's no real way to resist her. They never give the idea of psi shielding. There is psi shielding in the novels, but they never bring it up as a way of resisting her within the games. They give her such incredible powers and then forget about them in a moment's notice. They really didn't do a good job of making her a threat, but making her a feasible threat. As in, like, okay, she's a danger, she's a threat, she's a monster, but she's not existential. The Zerg Swarm as a whole is an existential threat, but it's one that can be resisted. They effectively made Carrigan an irresistible force. Because she can control the most powerful psyker in the one of the most powerful psykers in the sector by just being in the sector. And no one noticed this power struggle. No one noticed any of this going on. She just did it, and that was the end of it. So how could Raynor resist it? How could Mansk resist it? How could anyone in the sector? How could Nova resist it? How, you know, she's died Carrigan. How could she resist it? How could anyone stand up to that? They couldn't. If you're anyway a legitimate threat to her, she'll read your mind, she'll know this, and she'll kill you. Or force you to dismantle this. If you're not a threat to her, she can play with you, she can toy with you, she can let you fight her, and you'd fail feebly, and then she would kill you. Or mind dominate you, or infest you. You know, she's got all the cards, you've got none. If you have a card, she's reading your hand and will kill you for it before you can use it. She can dominate someone from a sector away. It's questionable how much you can even, well, from somewhere within the sector, from half a sector away possibly. It's questionable how could you even ambush her? Can you even get a surprise attack off on her? Given her Zerg Swarm, even if she's late to detect the attack, she can just use them to body block it. So, they made her too powerful. They actually wrote a plot hole into the story of Carrigan's power level. To actually resist Carrigan is to break the story. So, it's just poor writing on Blizzard's part. So, I don't think it's too narcissistic for me to say that I could do better, given how majorly they've messed up there. But still, like, if I was to get it, I would still want other writers to, you know, carry it the full way. I can notice some issues. I may be able to do something, but I don't see me as, you know, perfect. You know, I'm not thinking that highly of myself. I'm just realizing that, oh, okay, this bit is wrong. This bit's messed up. You know, this is fucked. I can try and do something better with it than what they have there. The bar is low enough. But if I want it to be really good, I needed someone better than me. You know, that's it. It's not that I'm great, it's the bar is low. You know? I like the settings, I like some of the ideas they come up with, but then they keep shitting the bed. So that's the bar is just low enough that I can do better. It's not that I think I'm really great, it's just the bar is low enough I can do better. That's the point I'm getting at. Blizzard really wrote a plot hole, made their when their antagonist so powerful, it doesn't make sense for anyone to be able to resist her. They put her on such a high power level. It's like Goku wandering into a preschool, you know? It makes no sense for the preschoolers to ever win. Goku would have to take a dive, you know? So, you could replace Goku with Saitama, you know, the One Punch Man. You could replace, you know, any insanely powerful character with Goku there. Or Goku with any insanely powerful character, and the thing holds, you know? The preschoolers are never going to win. And the rest of this sector is preschoolers compared to Karrigan. Given that she mind controlled Rosgal from somewhere within the sector, and she was one of the most powerful psychers. So if one of the most powerful psychers fell to Karrigan, what chance does people without that ability have, you know? What chance do they have at resisting her? And even if Rosgal wasn't one of the most powerful psychers around, let's say that detail's wrong and she's just average for a Protoss. Still, the point holds. What could Raynor do? He has no psychic ability. What could Max do? He has no psychic ability. You know, what could all the random soldiers in the Dominion or Raynor's Raiders do? You know. It's a major fucking plot hole that you just kind of glaze past and that's it. The only way I can think of redeeming it is that Karrigan had landed on Shakuras before and snuck personally into Rosgal's chambers in the middle of the night and personally grabbed her and dominated her. It's a very physical infiltration action. And it was a difficult thing to do. Karrigan has to be powerful, but you have to put limits on her power, otherwise it becomes a plot hole that anyone can resist her. That the Brood War happened at all. That she hasn't, taken over the galaxy prior to the Brood War. Spoiler warning, Will Robinson. Spoiler warning, Will Robinson. Mute it if you don't want to hear it. That's not just like the fucking Endless. The fan campaign that one guy made, Lunchbox made, of this swarm taking over the place and like dominating people, making Raynor relive a bastardized version of Wings of Liberty and stuff like this. Spoilers. You know, I'll just put a spoiler warning in there. So from what I remember, I stopped to put in the spoiler warning, but I don't think I ever finished that point, and it was a bit too abrupt. I didn't properly voice it anyway. Basically, that it becomes a plot hole that anyone can resist Karrigan. It becomes a plot hole that she hasn't taken over the Kapuru sector prior to Brood War, post Brood War, during Brood War. You know, it's and me bringing up the Endless was in the Endless custom campaign, modded campaign I should say, the Endless attack people and can kill them, but it can also turn them to their side, and in some cases the person's mind is destroyed. Others are kept functioning so they can serve different roles, like Warfield. But we're told that Raynor is infected. He'll serve as just a standard Marine till he's killed, but his personality is intact, just suppressed, constantly reliving a distorted version of Wings of Liberty. So the point I was getting at was, it's a plot hole that Karrigan hasn't already won, and that if Wings of Liberty was going to happen, isn't just Karrigan fucking with Raynor's head, much like the Conduit is in Lunchbox campaign. So that's the point I was getting at, was just like endless sweep across the cosmos, take over tons of territory. They're powerful infestation with that dominates people, that infests and controls them. With, in the case of Raynor, making him relive on loop a distorted, a distorted version of Wings of Liberty. It's unknown if we'll ever actually get that campaign. That's a side project, so it may not happen. But that's canonically what's happening to Raynor after the end of the Heart of the Swarm endless thing. So it's just like they make Kerrigan so powerful. It's almost a plot. It's basically a plot hole that anyone can resist her. And I was going further that it's almost a plot hole that like it's basically a plot hole that Wings of Liberty happens at all. In actuality, and it's not just Kerrigan messing with Raynor's head. It's not like what's happening in Lunchbox's campaign. I think that's the point I was getting at. When I stopped to put in that spoiler warning, I think I kind of mentally dropped the point and move on. So should actually take a listen to it and make sure, but that sounds like work. I'll do it now. Yeah, I forgot to talk about it at all. I've just listened to a little bit of it, and it's just like, yeah, no, I think I forgot to finish that point entirely. So, well, there's what I think I was swinging for. It's just that it's a plot hole that Kerrigan didn't, like, she has the ability to mind control people. She uses it liberally. Well, she uses it once, and then never again. In reality, I think Kerrigan would probably be using it much more liberally, and would have easily taken over everywhere if she had. The only way Wings of Liberty could have happened is if it's much like Lunchbox's version of Wings of Liberty, where it's just Kerrigan instead of the conduit, it's Kerrigan fucking with Raynor's head, projecting weird scenarios in his head, Just messing with his mind. With Kerrigan being able to mind control people as she feels like, wherever they are in the Kapuru sector, there's no real way to combat her. So, this, I feel, kind of becomes an inevitability. I suppose the only way it doesn't is if that's not within her character, but I wouldn't put it on past Zurich Kerrigan. So, oh, this is finally done. Awesome. The searching for my MMO footage. But, I'm just done here. I've talked for way too long. An hour? Best part? Fucking hell. Well, you're happy. You got your footage. It's no longer silent. But it's just me ranting and giving out about lore and writing. But yeah, basically there's no way to I can't remember the exact trust. Yeah, unless you make her powerful. You have to make her powerful, but if you make her too powerful, then it makes no sense. She hasn't already won. So you have to put limits on her power and restrictions. Like, Halvar dominated Rasagal, but Rasagal was able to injure her in the process, and Kerrigan never really healed from it. Even that alone doesn't really make sense, but it would justify why she hasn't dominated anyone else. And it could be a good, like, one-up to Rasagal that she got taken over, but went down swinging, basically. And at least prevented Kerrigan from taking anyone else. You could give, you would give something to the lady. But we never actually got to see Rasagal undominated in StarCraft. But anyway, so yeah, when I say fix it, I don't see myself as like God send the writers or that I'm some like God's gift. It's just the bar is low enough that they made Like, they wrote a good setting, but then they wrote mistakes into it, and it wouldn't be too hard to excise them or to dilute them enough to make it serviceable, you know? Just recontextualizing something or changing the circumstances slightly can be enough to fix some issues. You can smooth them over, basically. Having Carrigan infiltrating a place and personally dominating Rascal before escaping seems like a bit of a odd action for the Queen of Blades, but it would justify her being able to dominate Rascal without making her a existential threat, an unconfrontable existential threat. The Zerg is an existential threat, but it's not unconfrontable. You can shoot them, you can kill them. Having Carrigan being able to mind dominate people at an insane range makes it an unconfrontable existential threat. Because you try anything, she just dominates you and kills you. So, yeah. And the size shields that would be available probably wouldn't be powerful enough to resist her. So, yeah. And it's questionable how you could do it, how much you could even do in secret, you know? So, she's probably not scanning the whole time, but it would be questionable how much you could get away with as in a secret lab, you know? But, and the first time you test it out, well, could be the last time you get to test it. So if it doesn't work, because you need to test it against her power level, anything less than wouldn't really suffice. So, you get my point here. Once you start testing it out, she knows someone's doing it, and she's going to start looking. So, and she may already know. So, yeah. Kind of reminds me, I remember one reviewer talking about the Vulcans in Star Trek, how they were powerful. Like, but in the TOS, they would just keep adding powers to them. It was like, oh, they can do this, they can do that, they can do this, they can do that, and just kept adding powers the whole way down. So you end up with an insanely super race compared to humans. Humans are insanely bland, and then Vulcans are like can do like fifth dimensional martial arts and punch someone across the galaxy. I'm exaggerating, but you know, they just give them a ton, and it's just like there was no real thinking about the power balance of the races, basically. Like when you're writing a story, you have to think about the balance of a setting. You have to think about the like how powerful you're making a character. Like, okay, this race is really magically potent, so you got to give them a mouse in some other way. Okay, this race is really physically strong, but there's few of them. You know, or you know, they're immensely resource heavy to just function. You know, you have to balance things out. Both, like balancing people out as individuals, but you also have to balance them out on a like species basis, on a race basis. It annoys me how race can apply to like skin colors IRL, but also can like when you're talking about fiction, like elves and dwarves and humans is also race. But you get my point. So like you have to balance things out, and it's a tedious aspect, but otherwise, if you don't do it, then it becomes ridiculous. You know, it can get a bit silly, basically. Like, okay, you want a human to fight against this guy, but this guy is like unto a god. It becomes a plot hole in that guy being able to resist it all. You know? It falls into the Carrigan issue. So, yeah. But anyway, I'm gonna shut up now, because I may have actually hit the point of not needing post-commentary anymore, and you just got black fucking screen. And I'm sorry for ranting, but this bugs the piss out of me. I'm gonna do a goddamn video about that. So, talk to you. Fucking hell. I did too much post-commentary for this. I ran out of actual footage. And I'm adding yet more to it now. I do apologize. When I start giving out, I keep giving out. I'm sorry. I say, you know, finding it funny.